I want to talk to you today about a neat little capacitor called the Turbo 200. They also come in Turbo 200X and the Mini Turbo. This is a pretty neat capacitor that comes then it's a universal capacitor in the sense that it's got many different ways you can work this. It starts out with a 2.5 microfarads. It goes to a 5, another 5, then it goes on up, so you got 25, 20, and a 10. So you can actually make this work as any kind of combination, and it comes with these jumper wires, and I'll show you how that works. So on a compressor, you normally would have a 5 microfarad for your fan, and you would just hook up the common in the middle and then the fan to the terminal over the 5 there. So that would be your fan hookup. And the compressor, you would hook up to the common in the middle, and say you had a 25 microfarad capacitor, and you would just hook it right up to the 25 terminal. Now if you had a 35, let's say, we would take the 10 and the 25, and we would just take a jumper wire from the terminal on the 10 and jump it over to the terminal on the 25, and like so. And now we would hook our capacitor to the common and either the 25 or the 10. With this jumper wire, it actually adds the two together, so you now have 35. You also have a 20 here, so you could make a 30. You have a 20. You have a 10. You could make a 15 by jumping a 10 and a 5. You could make a, well, we've got 2.5, so we got 17 and a half. You could make a, there's your 20. You could make a 25, which is the blue. You could make a 30 with the 10 and the 20. You could make a 35 by the 10 and the 25, and you could make a 40 by the 10, 2 5s, and the 20. You can make a 45 by doing the 20 and the 25, and so forth. So you can add multiple jumpers interconnected so that you get your appropriate microfarad capacitance. So this is a pretty neat little thing. I've used it a couple times. Now they're expensive, so I don't suggest leaving it in the system. What I do is I'll keep one in the truck for whenever I run out of a specific capacitance. Stick this in the system as a temporary fix for us while I run back to my garage and grab some of the appropriate capacitors and put it back in on another day or something, come back or what have you. But I don't leave this in the system because this by itself is like 10 times the cost of a standard capacitor. So this is just an emergency use only. I keep, like I said, I keep one in the truck, and you can see I've got a pretty worn out box here that I've kept it in because I've used it a couple of times. And I only use it for like a day or two until I can get the appropriate capacitor back. UEI carbon monoxide detector. Typically what I do with this is that I turn it on, and it has a countdown until it's ready. On the back, here's the sensor, and I'll set this in a place close to the source air coming out of the registers. And I'll leave it on while I'm working on the maintenance on the gas furnace. In doing so, this will register in parts per million the amount of carbon monoxide in the air. And when it gets down, I'll show you another neat little trick it's got. So it'll sit there for half an hour or so while I'm working on the furnace and checking the furnace, and it'll start reading when it gets down to 0, and these are parts per million, and you'll notice it's 3 digits. So once it's sat there for a while and picked up any readings, then I can come back and push this max button, and you'll notice a little max symbol here, and it'll tell me the highest reading it had while it was sitting there. And as you know, 9 parts per million is the legal limit for a 24-hour environment with carbon monoxide. So 9 parts per million is the max you want to go. If it exceeds that, then you've probably got a heat exchanger leak, or a crack in your heat exchanger. So this is something that helps you determine whether or not your heat exchanger is going bad. Now you got to watch out for hot water heaters, because they tend to put out a lot more carbon monoxide than your furnace. Don't allow this detector to be anywhere near the hot water furnace, or else you'll get some faulty readings off of this. So yeah, that's it. UEI carbon monoxide detector. Pretty neat little trick. I keep this right up in the front of my truck. You notice it's already reading 1 part per million. And it's reading on a continuous basis. So the max so far while we were sitting here, 1 part per million, which is acceptable. Neat little tool. Always keep it in my truck. Do it with every furnace tune-up I go on. Especially when trying to balance out airflow in homes, is this Fieldpiece AAV3. It has got a little interior fan here, which you take and you put it up to your registers. What I like to do is create a box of a 1 foot square, so that I can hold it up to a ceiling register, and the 1 foot square at the end, and then I can level this right over the output of that box, so that I'm reading feet per minute, cubic feet per minute. It doesn't come with this, but there's a neat little Fieldpiece handle here. It's EHDL1, and this will give you your reading. So you pop this in here, or as you notice, you've got little pegs here. You can actually put these wires onto your Fieldpiece inputs on your other thing. But this one's pretty neat. You put the bottom switch down here on millivolts, DC, and then up here you set your temperature and Fahrenheit or degrees if you want to measure the air temperature coming out. Feet per minute up at the top if you're measuring the speed, and you flip that. You has a switch right here for real readings, or real-time readings, or average readings. So it'll get that going. And let's see. And down here, it's still currently reading open line, but I got to read the directions on how to set it up. But it'll read the milliamps, which is actually up here, your feet per minute, and there it goes. So we're measuring feet per minute, and it's got a decimal. So so here we go, 98 feet per minute. We take that and measure it to the, or convert it by the size of the opening where we're getting the air out. So we can measure the cubic feet per minute. So this is just the velocity. You measure it through the area of the vent that's coming out, and you'll see the actual velocity times the area, and you'll get your cubic feet per minute out of that vent, which is what you can use in balancing out your load when you're trying to decide how to dampen your vents, or when you're installing a new system. So that's it, Fieldpiece, the AAV3 with the Fieldpiece handle EHDL1. Pretty neat little tool. Always carry it with me in the front of the truck.